Yo, what's going on, guys? Back again. Here's a quick little update of what the hydroponic setup looks like for right now. I just got back from a vacation. I was gone about 5 days, so this is what it looks like. Before I left, I chopped everything off, so everything was underneath the light, and then as you can see here, I got some more peppers that came in. I plucked pretty much most of everything that was on here off before I left, and then I had a few that was still on here. As you can see, most of them have turned red. This one is a super dark green, almost red, and I got a few more in here. So I was just down here trying to clean up a little bit. It was got a little messy from just using something and then just sitting it down and not putting it back where it was supposed to go. So, and then as soon as I got back, I went ahead and decided to just go ahead and get a grow tent. I got a 4x4, and I think it's 6.5 feet tall. I was thinking about it while I was gone. I was like, this light is coming down, but it's not reflecting anything. So as you can see, everything over here is just dark, because the light's not making it over there. So I figured, I get a grow tent, all the light can just bounce off of all the different reflective, I think it's called mylar or whatever. All that light will stay contained inside. So as you see, I'm losing light going that way, and all the other sides, only light is just coming straight down. So I figured I'd just go ahead and get a grow tent. So like I said, I got a 4x4, I think it's 6.5 feet tall. I should be able to get this whole shelf in there, and then hopefully I can get a few pots or reservoir stuff in here as well. So just decided to go ahead and do that. So I'm just down here, just swept up all the leaves and stuff that were back there, and then I can really make sure I can control the environment by getting that grow tent. I can put all my electronics and stuff in there to do the monitoring and everything, and then I can wire this stuff up so it doesn't look so janky. So as you can see here, I got this air pump. I was afraid it was going to fall, so I tied it to the top of the shelf, and then I was afraid that this was going to fall off and then drag the whole thing down to the bottom, and so I tied that up as well. Because I think someone said before, if the air pump was to fail or whatever, and it's below the level of the water that's inside of the reservoir, all the water could go backwards and then leak all over the floor. So that's why I decided to just tie it up and put it up there. And so yeah, that's where we're at. I can't remember how many days this is in here. I know it should be over pretty close to 130 days. Updates as far as what I'm planning to do next is, I think I was able to get probably about 10 to maybe 20 peppers off of this big one. I think I'm just gonna try to cut and try to propagate it and just wipe it out of this system, and then see if I can get a few more pepper plants later. Same with the one that's on the bottom. I'm gonna try to get a cutling off of that, or to propagate, and then just start all over and try to keep them probably less than a foot tall. I don't want them to grow any taller than a foot, maybe even 10 inches, to be honest. I just want to kind of keep them small. That way I can just keep growing different types of peppers and try to cross-pollinate them or crossbreed, whatever you call it. But that's the idea for that. I need to get, I had some seedlings down there, and then I left and then forgot about them. Only one of them is still alive. So I'm gonna try to keep that, try to use that one. And then I think I got one more over here. So I'll put some nutrients in that so that one can get growing, and we're gonna start fresh. And then I'm gonna try to see if I can get some lettuce and stuff growing over in that system. So that's a quick little update, and I'll catch you guys later once I get everything set up. All right, I just unboxed the grow tent. This is the Vivo Sun. grow tent, the 4 by 80 inches, I believe, or 48 inches by 48 inches by 80 inches. So this is that grow tent. So roughly 4 by 4 by 6.5 feet. So this is I just took it out the box and getting ready to get it set up, and we'll see how it goes. So doesn't look like it'd be too hard. So we'll see what it looks like when it's done. All right, I'm back. So this took maybe about 10 minutes to put together. As you can see, it's pretty big. That shelf will definitely fit inside of the grow tent, and I will have plenty of space left over. And as you can see, here it is. It's pretty close to the ceiling. I am going to put it right underneath here. I want to say there's some vents here that's inside of the drywall. So as you can see, it's pretty tall. I am about 5'6", so I can fit inside of here perfectly fine. And right now the next step is putting, I guess, the actual tent inside of the frame. I'm a little iffy about with this. They don't seem to fit really snug. It looked like I did exactly what the instructions said as far as putting this on there. A or F, and you see the two F's go across, and then E grows on top of those. So as you can see, this is F, and then E goes across the top of those. So looks like I have it right, but it doesn't seem to be really snug. But I'm guessing once I put the actual tent on here, that'll tighten everything up. But we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, so I got it put together. I say total time, it was probably about 45 minutes. The only reason it took longer is because I had a hard time getting the tent up and over where this was at. I got kind of a mess down here, so I had to work underneath this part just because I had a mess over there and I didn't feel like trying to move that stuff around. So if you got a nice open space, probably take you maybe 25 minutes, probably, maybe even less than that. And then I knocked one of my plants over. I spilled it under, water got under the mat, so I had to clean that stuff up. And then, so yeah, so far it's pretty big. My measurements were definitely a little off. I didn't think it would be this big. So I was able to get the plant inside of here. I just wanted to get it in here for right now, and then I'll come back later and get this stuff cleaned up so it looks a little more organized. Like I said, I'm gonna knock that pepper plant down, try to see if I can get a seed, take a cutting off of it, and then propagate that, and then start fresh all over again. I don't want the plants any taller than a foot, just because I don't want to deal with a big bush of peppers, and light is blocking light. Plant so big it's blocking the light out for the other plant, just like this one. This one is, there's no light on this end of the tent. And then I kind of want it to be roughly about this size. If I have a plant, another pepper plant, I want to say I want to try to get maybe 2 in a reservoir like this, and then I could probably fit maybe 1 more in here, and then I'll probably have something else in the front, and then try to see if I can grow some stuff up on the shelf as well. I think what I'm going to do is take the reservoirs off of the shelf and put those on the floor, and then try to grow something on the shelf, so that way, you know, the reservoir doesn't really need the shelf. So that's where I'm at. So like I said, total time getting all this stuff set up was probably about 45 minutes. Or like I said, I spilled some water and had a hard time getting the top of the tent over over the drywall that's up there. So, but yeah, everything looks good so far. Like I said, I'll get this stuff cleaned up and catch you guys later.